I think that we could all agree here that 2025 is going to be full of expensive failures for Marvel Studios and everything Marvel related based on all the drama happening with Fantastic Four, Blade 2025, and even Thunderbolts, and especially Captain America 4, which by the way has it the worst right now, through all the alterations and revisions being applied to the plot of that film. We'll have more to discuss on that next week, so stay tuned about that. However, focusing here on everything that's been going on with She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany and her ongoing issues with, of course, the Walt Disney Company and everything happening in between is only making matters worse, and for the entire scenario related to the She-Hulk situation. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You could also follow me at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. So, as you all know, there's been a lot of cutbacks with Marvel overall. We know that Bob Iger made that comment about 2 days ago about how they are now minimizing the amount of Marvel projects that will be released annually. Basically, they want to dwindle it down to 2 to 3 Marvel movies a year and strictly 2 Marvel TV shows alongside that. And this is the first step that they're making with the cutbacks, alright? This has a lot to do with the current, feedback coming from fans based on Marvel and how Bob Iger's already beginning to point the finger at the frequency issue, where it's not even a frequency issue. It's because everything has been agenda-driven garbage recently. Now, with Tatiana Maslany, of course, recently, blaming the fans, specifically toxic fans, and continuing to spew out all of that nonsense. With Bob Iger dealing with the endless issues for both Lucasfilm and Marvel Studios right now, one major development now involves more to do with She-Hulk actress Tatiana Maslany, where she went against Marvel fans yet again after she was recently fired from both Disney and Marvel Studios. Now, Maslany delivered the following. As an actress who fully supports diversity, equity, and inclusion, the biggest criticism that I have against studios like Disney, and in this case Bob Iger, who runs the company, is that they tend to listen to loud, entitled Marvel fans that obviously have an issue with women and powerful female roles in films catered toward the Marvel Universe in this case. It's an ongoing problem in the film industry where we have these major studios like Disney, and yes, I do stand by my criticism with Mr. Iger and the awful choices that he has made in the past several months for female roles. But I think this is also a fan-driven issue where on one end you have this loud, noisy minority of Marvel fans that claim to support women but change their mind at the flip of a coin, and on the other end you have the silent majority of fans that absolutely supported and loved She-Hulk through and through, that were afraid to speak up for a show like this, and how the studios support a character like She-Hulk or Captain Marvel or whoever. And that's the bigger picture here and the ongoing problem at large. We absolutely had a silent majority with She-Hulk, and had they spoken up, I firmly believe that we would have had a season 2 before we blew our budget on that one, and the lack of support from fans that were afraid to voice their opinions. I can't really say much about the future of She-Hulk. I mean, Marvel, Disney, whatever, just didn't want me anymore on so many projects. I was recently, of course, in talks for, some of which we had a full agreement on, and we're ready to go. But it's not just a studio issue. The root of the issue here are both fans afraid to speak their mind and toxic fans, mostly coming from males afraid of women, especially in the superhero roles, that they feel are only catered toward men. If we just had more brave fans willing to speak their mind and put up honest reviews and toxic fans just keeping quiet and withdrawing from making their ridiculous comments, we would have absolutely had a She-Hulk Season 2 or a Captain Marvel 3 or whatever. Look, I am excited for Ironheart. I think that's the future of Marvel and where things need to go to sort of focus on female roles with familiar aspects toward popular Marvel characters like Iron Man as far as aesthetics go. And in that case, you don't always have to actually have people like RDJ or Chris Hemsworth. I'm glad Kevin is just trying to focus on all of that instead now, and how he really wants to use that for Phase 7 and beyond. I just think that Bob needs to wake up a bit lately and to realize that a silent majority is a real thing, especially with what happened with She-Hulk. You have quiet fans that are afraid of being challenged by toxic fans that really make things hard to stay a Marvel fan or even a Star Wars fan. I mean, it happens all around from what those, of course, I have worked with over the years. Now guys, let me just say one thing about this before I move on about what Tatiana is spewing about her view of the studio executives, her view of the fans, and how she believes that there's a silent majority, which is just ludicrous. Look, there's no such thing as a silent majority. Let's be real about that, at least when it comes to She-Hulk. Pretty much everyone hated She-Hulk for several reasons. Now look, there are exceptions. There are fans out there that love this show. I'm not going to lie about that. I'm not going to sit there and lie about that. But we also have to acknowledge the amount of fans that just did not want to see a She-Hulk Season 2, let alone She-Hulk coming to the big screen. This is exactly why she was excluded from Deadpool and Wolverine from making those various cameos for the third act of the film. We talked about this many times in the past couple of weeks / months. But what's interesting about this is how Tatiana is blaming both the studios and different sides of the fandom simultaneously. You know, she's blaming fans that kept quiet too much, but yet she's also blaming the toxic fans for turning some fans to kind of remain silent. And so it kind of sounds like that she's trying to endlessly defend She-Hulk, no matter what scenario that she's thrown into, no matter what kind of backlash that came from it. You know, she's trying to really just point the finger here and say that, yeah, there is a silent majority that will never speak their mind. And I think that that translates to, I just want to say whatever I want to say, that this series was basically successful because fans really just did not speak up. That's basically what she's elaborating here, alright? That's basically what she's alluding to, I should say. But moving onwards, she goes on to conclude, but they, as in the studios, just did not want me anymore, and it's quite frankly very much an unprofessional move by Bob to make such a quick call judging by the wrong fans, making so much noise in this brand that really just needs to adapt more toward female roles. I can only hope Ironheart gets the treatment it deserves, and I fully endorse it 100%. Let me say one thing about Ironheart, guys. I don't think it's gonna do well at all. I think it's going to be another She-Hulk situation, if not worse. And it's not just the fact that it's going to be focused on a woman. It has nothing to do with that. It's the fact that they focus on agenda over story, ideology over art, DEI, all this nonsense that just turns into a terrible story. Look, I mean, if we have other roles out there that feature women that are very, very good with the story and really fully support a good script and great acting, then so be it. Then that's fine. But when you mix the two together, where you have cringeworthy dialogue, agenda-driven strategies that are shoehorned into the story that just do not work, where the character feels one-dimensional, it just is not going to work well with the fans. It's not going to resonate, and it's just flat out going to fail. That's why the Marvels did not work out. It wasn't just limited to female roles. It was just a bad film all around. So overall, I would love to hear what you all have to say about the ongoing scenario over at Marvel Studios. And if you guys did enjoy the content for it today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.